पर जा सकते हैं.
All right, well, a minor girl was allegedly held captive, brutally assaulted and sexually abused by a man she befriended online in Maharashtra's Nagpur. The 16-year-old victim was taken to a hotel where she was brutally beaten up by her friend. He inflicted knife wounds on her and sexually abused her. The accused hails from a well-to-do family in Thane. He's reportedly the son of a renowned doctor and the nephew of a senior police officer in Maharashtra. The young man had befriended the victim via chat using the alias Akash Mehra and had visited Nagpur twice over the course of 12 months. After being rescued by the police, the girl was found to be in trauma due to the torture inflicted by the accused over 2 consecutive days. A case has been registered against the accused under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita and child protection laws. But the most horrific part is that the accused has been keeping the lockup staff on their toes with repeated demands for VIP treatment. He has also been grumbling about sleepless nights, mosquito bites and demanded a thick cushion or a soft bedding and immediate installation of insect repellents in the lockup. While this is obviously a strange case and a brutal one at that which has come to light, we'll try and get some perspective on what this means. Nirmal Kaur, former DGP, Jharkhand, is with us on the program. Dr. Swati Jindal Garg, advocate of the Supreme Court, also joins us on the program. Dr. Manisha Gaur, clinical psychologist, is with us on the program. And last but not the least, Rajalakshmi Joshi, political analyst, with us on the program as well. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this conversation. It's important to understand that it's impossible to also ignore, Dr. Swati Jindal, that after committing a crime, there should be a sense of remorse, there should be a sense of fear that your life could be ruined, that your future could be disrupted, because you are definitely going to do jail time, unless you're convinced that because of your connection and who your father and your uncle is, you may not end up going to jail. How do you look at this case, Dr. Swati Jindal?
Well, the feeling of entitlement that young adults are showing these days, it just continues to boggle my mind. Why is it that a young adult who was a child or a teenager not so many years back feels convinced, Vineet? I ask you, why is it that he feels convinced that nothing will happen to him? Because till now, maybe nothing has been happening to him. This is not the first time. See, you do not go out of your way, kidnap someone, sever their hands, from what I have read, and sexually assault them for over a period of 2 days. And this may not be the first of such behavior by you. You may have done many other behaviors, indulged in many other such acts, which have led to this stage now. Maybe over the period of years while you were growing up, whenever you did something that was not right, either you were protected or your conduct was excused. You have never had to pay for your actions, which has now led to this situation where whoever it is that was protecting you till now may not, and please note the usage of the word may, it is not shall. That person may not be able to save your hide now at this stage. But the way this person is behaving, that feeling of entitlement that he has, we do not know whether he suffers from some behavioral disorders, whether he has poor impulse control, whether he's suffering from some emotional distress or trauma in the past that has led to this behavior. But nonetheless, that the fact that more and more such cases are coming to light these days, coupled with the fact that teenagers today, the 16-year-old victim, they feel constrained to lie to their parents. So this lack of communication that they have at home, where they feel constrained to lie, the fact that they're hiding their whereabouts show that they are aware that they're doing something that is not permissible, that the elders will stop them from doing. So they lie to their parents and their friends, and they go with full willingness to such a person, hiding their whereabouts and not knowing that it will come to a stage where they need protection, or where they might need to be seeking police help, and well, then they pay for it. It is so sad. I think today the parents need to keep the communication channels open with their children. At the same time, the parents need to realize that we don't want this new concept that has come out, that be a friend to your child. Well, your children will have many friends, but they only have one set of parents. We need to remind ourselves today the parents don't need to be their children's friends, they need to be their parents, because the children ultimately need parental guidance. If they are being guided by friends, this is the aftermath that we have today, which is very sad.
Rajalakshmi, how do you look at this case? Sense of entitlement. On one hand, you have uh, the nobility factor of the Gen Z being talked about, and on the other hand, you have specimens who are basically going in the other direction.
Hello, Vineet. Yes, I am appalled at the sense of entitlement that is shown by this person. And also the kind of excuses that he says that, oh, she has come by her own consent, and whatever she has slashed her own wrists, etc. So, I mean, of course, there can be cross questions that's asked that why did you not report to the police or to the hospital when she was injured? So, I mean, that is quite, it's as simple as that. But yeah, coming back to the entitlement, I'm shocked at how they can think that they can get away with these things. So, I totally agree with Advocate Swati Gargji when she says that, there is a limit to which you can be a friend to your children. Yes, I am a friend to my child, to my daughter. But then at the same time, I also have to be strict and stern and firm when it comes to disciplining, or when it comes to her safety and security. That is something that nobody can compromise on, and you cannot just let things be. So whether it be in a big city, in urban areas or rural areas, you have to look at the security of a child, whether it be a daughter or a son. And you have heard this thing that spare the rod and spoil the child. So that is how it is. So I'm not saying that you have to use a rod and use some physical violence, but at the same time, there has to be some kind of restrictions. These people, they keep talking about freedom of speech and freedom of expression, etc., but nobody talks about responsibilities, Vinith. That is a problem. Whether it comes to legal cases, whether it comes to protests, whether it comes to children, they talk about this is my right, this is my duty. There is this sense of entitlement. They don't think about their own safety. They don't think about consequences. The fear of consequences is not there, Vinith. Also, again, I would also want to come to this thing about there is a lot of petitions going on about reducing the age of consent. Again, there is this huge problem where you cannot reduce that age of consent, and then a girl at the age of 16, just look at how she was swayed away by this person who was using a fake name, and the kind of brutality with which he has conducted himself. So just imagine that. I think that a year back I was reading about another case in Nagpur where a similar thing had happened, and 10 people had gang raped a 15-year-old girl. So just imagine that this kind of a thing could happen with somebody who has befriended someone on Instagram or any other social media, and just because they are using some fake names and fake identities. Again, this puts a lot of questions about the rampant use of social media and these kind of these kind of platforms by teenagers, by people who don't realize the consequences of all these platforms. So you need to be aware that the person on the other side may not really be who they claim to be. So they could be absolutely somebody else. So I think we need stricter policies, stricter laws, and also a very strict implementation of all of this. So I'm glad and thankful that the police were able to rescue the girl in time, because we don't know what exactly he was up to. Just imagine he's asking for all kinds of luxuries in the jail. So I don't think that he really realizes what exactly he has done and what could be the consequences we need. So there needs to be a lot of counseling, and also there needs to be a lot of very strict deterrents so that these kind of things don't happen and these people don't take these things for granted. I think we need that we all need to look up all these things seriously. You also have daughters. I also have a daughter. So we are all concerned parents. So I think we need to be firm where we need to be, and also be a friend where we need to be. So that line,
Okay.
that balance has to be there. We need.
Strong words, but potent and logical, Rajalakshmi, as always. Let me also rope in Nirmal Kaurji into this conversation. Ma'am, how do you look at this case? Is this also basically a definition of what the problem is in terms of a lot of these, vacuums that exist in our society when it comes to entitlement?
My previous speakers, all of the co-panelists, Swati, Rajlakshmi, and Manisha, they've all spoken of the sense of entitlement, this growing sense of entitlement. These little emperors, one or two children and no discipline, both parents are working. And this obviously, from whatever facts have come out in the media, this guy who's not showing any repentance, who's not feeling any guilt, who has no regrets. Obviously, it's a psychopathic personality, very very high on psychopathy scale, you would rate, and he's a criminal mind, like he has no sense of morality, no sense of ethics, no sense of right and wrong. He may be able to verbalize it very well, but he doesn't. He has no conscience. He is absolutely a man with no conscience, and this kind of. I mean, a lot of research has gone into psychopathy, but I think it's primarily lack of socialization or failure of socialization. So failure of socialization or lack of socialization, that happens when parents are either very very cruel, like they're abusing even their infants, hitting them, beating them. All kinds of human cruelties they are doing to them, which is unlikely in this case. The other case is when the parents are doltishly indulgent. That seems to be the case in this case. The mother is a very high profile doctor, very well connected family. And all the successful psychopaths normally come from good families only. Because otherwise, you're caught as a child, you're beaten as a child, the system catches you somewhere. This is obviously not the first incidence of transgression. He must have done so many other transgressions, so many aberrations, so much of aberrant behavior in him must have been noticed, till he's attained the age of 20. But nobody, maybe he was saved all the time by his parents' position or whatever, and that is why he's a successful psychopath. He's managed to kidnap a girl. Now of course, POXO is there, child, that is a young girl, and how she came and on social media. Another thing is this: social media has to be regulated. Many countries have banned social media for school children. Why are we not doing it? Our children are onto phone all the time. Parents have nothing. Even for this girl's parents, I think their responsibility is to see who's the girl chatting on Snapchat or wherever she was talking with this guy. Why have they not kept a control? Some kind of parental observation. Unobtrusively, you have to see where your children are going. You know, um, uh, uh, Maybe the parents are busy in this case, the girl's parents also, but parenting is a difficult task. You can't leave parenting to chance, and this is what happens. One guy has become a psychopath, the other girl is a victim, and that is what our society. This is socialization, absolute failure of socialization. There are two things in a man's personality. One is heredity, what you bring, heredity, and the other is socialization. I would say socialization has a much more impact. How you socialize, how you fit into the society, how you learn the modes, ethics, values, and whatever happens in a society, how one has to conduct oneself. This is where children of these days are failing. They are on social media. All the friendships are on social media. And that is not real world. That is a parallel world. Nobody, like in this case also, he's come across with a pseudonym. Nobody, I can have an account in the name of anyone. A man, they said so many men are pretending to be women there. So many women are pretending, this guy is such a good family and he's come under a false name and he's been visiting Nagpur to perhaps catch his victims. He's making victims and getting them. And I don't know what the parents have to say to this, but such people, I think there's hardly any scope. He's already 20, and I don't think he's ever going to improve. He'll always be a threat and burden to the community, to the society that he lives in. And we have no system of even watching psychopaths. Even, very few are identified. Like this gentleman has been identified now, Akash Mehra or whatever his real name is. But we don't. If he goes to jail, parents will hire a good lawyer. Maybe he'll be acquitted or bailed out very soon by whatever excuses the may be brought before the court. And I think our legal system is also not very strict. We saw in that case also recently. what was that Shraddha Balkar case? The accused, so-called accused, who had cut her up and put her in the fridge. The hearing did not take place because he had an exam. He was doing some masters, and what about Shraddha? Where is she doing her masters? God knows which world she's living in. So we
Right,
have
ma'am.
all the human rights, everything for the accused, for the antisocials, but nothing for the law-abiding citizens. That is where our system is failing.
You're quite right, ma'am. We also need a psychologist's perspective on this, Dr. Manisha Gaur. What is wrong with people like, this gentleman who committed a crime, then obviously was put in the slammer for his conduct, and then continued to pretend as if whatever he's done is basically not only normal but also, deserves some sort of leniency.
Yeah. So here, Vineet, whatever has happened is absolutely disturbing. Uh, and it needs empathy for the client itself, I mean, the girl itself. But here, I would really want to highlight on the case, on the term called online grooming. Here, online grooming is where the person who is working as, who's trying to uh, mm, get a person who's trying to keep a control over a person, tries to emotionally trap a person, gives that safe space to that person. Online chats on Instagram, online contacts on Instagram, online chats on Snapchat, then gaming and all that, तारीफ करना, उनसे अच्छे से बात करना, or giving them all that safe space, that friendly behavior, as if that female would feel that he is only the person who's my well-wisher. Giving that safe space to a teenager really blunts the mind, because the teenager's mind is not that mature to take the decision. The judgment power of a teenager doesn't develop up till the age of, at the age of 16. The judgment power for a partner, for the correct partner, gradually develops by the age of approximately 24 and 25. So here the person has been doing that. So that is the behavior, online grooming, which has been doing. What my panel or all the respected panel has been talking about, online people talking about that online surveillance should be done, parents should take care about. So what I feel, that it is just not about the parents talking about the good touch and bad touch. They should also talk about the good chat and the bad chat, what the students or the teenagers are doing with their friends around. They should also talk about all the people, all the things happening around. Now when we talk about the person who is in the jail and who is demanding all the things, here it is about the psychopathology. Here we need to find out whether the person is also involved in the drugs, also into the substance abuse, and usually the person who is suffering from some kind of psychological disorder gets to get into this, that they reduce their empathy, they do not empathize, they do not feel that, and they enjoy the brutality, they enjoy the castrations, they enjoy the murders, they enjoy the hurt. So the sadist personality usually enjoy that. We do not, and the borderline personalities also try to do that. So there can be a personality disorder, there can be a psychopath disorder, there can be a reason of drug abuse and substance abuse, because excess of substance abuse also deletes the judgment power in the brain. That becomes a great reason for all these things. So there should be a psychometric and psychoanalysis done of that patient, or sorry, of that boy in the jail, so that we can find out the exact reason why all these things are happening. It is just
Fair
not the
enough, ma'am.
power
Fair enough. You've made
which
some
becomes the
stellar
reason,
points,
that
ma'am.
the family background. Yes.
You made some stellar points, and all of you have made your perspective absolutely clear as to why behavior like this cannot stand in a country like India, or for that matter, anywhere in the world. We have run out of time. Appreciate everybody who joined in. Thank you so much for your time. We'll be right back.